who are not closely in the classroom, but who also plays a role in assessing the extent to which various objectives have been achieved. So we have external exam bodies who are classified as the outsiders. So we have like WAEC, we have Institute of Education, who assesses the colleges of education and the University of Cape Coast. Those times, all the 46 colleges were under UCC until previous government decided to share them among the 5 universities that we have. So now, I think that is Winneba who has the highest, with the Ken University have 5, Legon 5, UDS I think 6, then UCC I think 13 or so. I think 13 or 14. Then I think Winneba 15 or 17, like that. So then we have Code, who also, I know Institute also do those teachers licensure exams. They also set questions for that as well. Okay, bodies involve teachers of the secondary schools and colleges of education in setting and marking of exams, exam script. So at the colleges level, the chief examiners, who are mostly from the universities that they are affiliated to, at times will grant them the audience to set questions, bring it to a chief examiner, and the chief examiner will mix them, blend them, or sample from those questions. Then WAEC also deal with teachers. They mark the script. They employ teachers to mark the script, and they do their analysis. Then we have inspectors, who are also outsiders. Example of inspectors like the CISOs, school improvement support officers. Is that also?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so they come from government agencies and education service and the Ministry of Education.
Sir,
and they have
please,
to
your
observe
line
the
keeps
various
breaking.
methods that teachers are using. They use seriously.
Yes,
So
sir.
is it better now?
It's
Sir, please, can
stable
you
for
go
now.
back a bit because it break and then it came. So when you this.
Oh, this is the first time hearing this. So where is the difficulty? Where is is it breaking?
For now,
It's okay, sir.
It's okay now.
Please, it's
Yes,
okay.
sir.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So we are saying that in terms of those who qualifies to evaluate curriculum, that's professional. There are 2 professionals. The first one are the insiders. The insiders are the teachers, and they are people who qualifies because they have that close relationship with the student in the classroom. They teach the student, they assess the student by the test, the quiz, the end of term exams. So they have a close monitoring to determine the behavior of students and what student attitude towards the curriculum that is being run. And also they are able to determine the strengths and the weaknesses of the student through the assessment they do. So these are the insiders. Are you getting it? Then we are saying that one of the shortcomings of these type of teacher evaluation is that they is subjective. What a teacher, the type of question a teacher may assess, set for a student, for geography student, a different school teacher may set different question. That's the subjective we are talking about. It were to be objective, all of the irrespective of your school should do one question, like what WAEC has been doing. That's why WAEC we see to be standardized and objective in nature. Then We are talking about outsiders, and these outsiders are people who are not directly in the classroom or in the school, but they have equally important role to play in ensuring that there's well evaluation of the curriculum to determine the progress that has been made and where we need to also work on. And we are saying that some of these outsiders include external exams bodies like WAEC, Institute of Education, Code. And we said that these WAEC, Institute of Education, also make use of the teachers at the secondary schools and the colleges to do the marking of the exam scripts. Then they are able to bring some data for public relation purposes. Then we also have the inspectors, like I mentioned, the CISOs, who are from government agencies, and they come to the schools to observe the method teachers use, the resources available for the program implementation, the way students also respond to the methods that are used by the teacher, and how these resources that are used in facilitating learning impact student learning so far as the program is concerned. Yeah, Osman, your hand is up. Hey, Osman, this is the first time you are talking today. You are quite monitoring this the scene.
Yes, please.
Okay, go ahead.
So, with regards to the Unit 7, I don't have the slide. That is why I just prompted you after you are done. Yes.
Okay. Any other question? Now, what are some of the shortcomings so far as these external exam evaluators are concerned? We are saying that one of the shortcomings could be that some questions or tasks are passed which the blessed people or learners can perform almost without thinking, and other problems are set which require knowledge well beyond the reach of the weakest candidate. You see, because these people are not in the classroom to know the strengths and the weaknesses of the student and whether they have been taught these topics or not, because these are external bodies, they assume that you have exhausted all the timetable, all the topics. So when they set questions, they don't think that this is your strength or weakness. They assume. Yes. They assume that you all possesses the same experiences, the same understanding, knowledge, and all those things. That's why these external bodies will not come and look at whether you have your students are slow learners or they are fast learners before they set the question in a certain way. They don't care. They assume that you have the same. So at times they may set some questions which those who are very shakal will be below them, and those who are also the weakest one could be beyond them because they don't even know the strength and the weaknesses of the student that they are setting the question for. That's why I do not agree that why should someone teach somebody and another person come and assess? Do you know what I was teaching the person? Do you know the impulse of what I intended to communicate to the learners? That's why in the university, a lecturer will not teach and another lecturer come and assess your student for what? But in the basic school that we are doing the reformation period, the reformation state, that one we teach up to a certain extent, a different body who has no locus of what my learners are, their strengths and weaknesses and their background and all those uniqueness. Then they come and set BEC and WASI, and we use that as a judgment to determine whether they can progress or they will not progress to the next level. You see, we need to have a rethinking of all these things. Yeah, in the colleges, you see what happens in the colleges, which is that one is even a bit better, is that you see in the colleges, what happens is that before they start the term, they come to workshops and training. So if, for example, all schools under Kenya University colleges, if it's a geography, all the tutors in those colleges teaching geography will come for a workshop. Then the chief examiner will share the course outline and the course materials with the teachers and share with them what he intends for them to teach. Then the colleges go and teach. Then when it comes to the exams, what they do is that some of these universities, they let the college teachers set questions, they bring it. Then the chief examiners will sample from the questions from the colleges or will blend them and bring it back. And I think that one is even better than WAEC, who will have their own question bank or some teacher doing this without it. And even the colleges one, when you finish the exam, it's the same college teachers who will come and mark you, not the chief examiner. At the college, that's why they come all the way from wherever they are going to come and do conference marking. I know I've been doing that of the institutes, so I know what I'm talking about, where college teachers will come all the way from the country schools and the UCC at Southbound, the GES workshops training center. They come and do and when they come for the marking, the chief examiner will meet them, give them the marking scheme, discuss the marking scheme with them. They will do what we call damming, a sample marking to see how appropriate they have team leaders. Before the chief examiner will even allow them to mark. When they mark, the team leaders will vet and check whether they mark the right thing. The chief examiner will also go through so that no student will be shortchanged. So I think if such a process is being used, students will not be marginalized or shortchanged as compared to what is being done by WAEC. And okay, I said.
Sir, please, I do say. My name is Adusei. My question is what about code? How is it done at that level?
I am teaching you. So I have set my questions for them to come and assess you. So what the code will only do is to administer it on my behalf. So in fact, some of them too, they even appoint some of us, the chief examiners, to come and supervise as invigilators. So some of the invigilators, they come to your center. Some of them are chief examiners. As at yesterday or early this morning, I've sent all my questions for this course. Both quiz 1, quiz 2 exams and the schemes. I've sent all of them to them. So whatever questions they are bringing is what I have given to them. So it's not that the code, they will set their question, no. Just that the online quiz, they have the system that they will upload the questions for you to do. But the questions will come from the chief examiners or the course coordinators.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Moore.
Yes, sir, please, like what you said, in fact, within the second quiz, in fact, it was very hectic. Looking at, I don't know, looking at the STEM, one question you can get about 5 lines for a question, and even the options to sometimes 4 lines for the options. So for that one too, we want to find out if it was from you, our facilitators.
Is it the answers 4 lines?
Yes, please. Even the question sometimes 5 lines. By the time you are done reading, you may even forget the central theme or the idea behind the question.
Are you talking about my course or other courses?
So all the courses that we read for the first block.
That was second quiz. The second quiz.
Yeah, because my second quiz, there were no any essay. They are all objectives. So I'm not sure you did any writing in my second quiz.
No. Sir,
Yes.
he's not talking about, he's talking about the preamble. You read the preamble, by the time you finish the preamble, you've forgotten about what to even choose.
Okay, so if some application questions like scenario questions, those ones there, you see, if it's a scenario question, you must get the context right to be able to pick the options. If it's a scenario, that's fine. A scenario question or application question, you need to get the scenario right before you can. And some of the scenario, depending on the scenario, will determine the length of it. But the most important thing is that when you are reading such question, the most important is the scenario that you must get it to. Because at this level, you don't expect us to set a straightforward question that what is, or the is it the term that is used to describe so and so and so and so, that the series of hurdles that students have to cross is known as. Oh, these things are basic level. You see, so some, if you see scenarios, these are, we want you to just apply what we have discussed here. And if there will be any scenario with, in terms of, I'm talking about my course, the scenarios are basically the examples I normally cite whenever I'm teaching. But I don't think that there are too much scenarios so far as my questions are concerned. But what you need to understand that code does not set questions. They pick the questions from the course coordinators and chief examiners. So if there's any question that is beyond you, then it is the coordinator is the one who is responsible, not code. Because getting to the end, code will send us letters, and I received mine from my mail, that by latest by 14th, all questions, quiz 1, quiz 2, and exams questions should be submitted. And as I'm talking to you this morning, I sent all my quiz 1 with schemes, quiz 2 with schemes, and exams with scheme as well. So code, if there's anything like that, you can't fault code. You should fault the chief examiner or the course coordinator. So another challenge with the external evaluators, we are saying that it lacks on the spot feedback, which could have been used to eliminate the difficulties of the weak candidate evaluated. How many of you who took your college exams with institute had the opportunity to check your papers to see the mistakes that you did? Was there any opportunity like that?
No, sir. We didn't get that opportunity.
Yes. So that's what we are saying. These external examiners, the type of evaluation they do, it lacks on the spot feedback. Unlike the teacher evaluation, where you do the exercise and you get some wrong, they will do correction, you know where you were wrong, so that you don't repeat it. Or when the end of term exams, they discuss, so that where you fell short, you don't make that mistake again. So that's one of the shortcomings with these external evaluators. There are also problems with the inspectors, some of whom do not attach professionalism to their work. They come, some of them, they are only interested in money, full staffs, and how you're going to grease their palm for them to go. Instead of them to attach professionalism to their work, they come and they just overlook certain things. Oh, give them more, and then they are interested in their money and this thing you give to them. So, and that becomes a problem. They don't do the good job. And some also give excuses such as lack of means of transport to take them to the schools that they are to do the inspection, especially the CISOs and the second supervisors. See, so these are some of the shortcomings so far as these external evaluators are concerned. Any question on them? Okay. Now let's look at models of curriculum evaluation.
No, please.
So we are looking at models of curriculum evaluation. Stetcher and Davis outlined 5 models. 5 models. And we have what we call the experimental model of evaluation, goal-oriented model of evaluation, decision-focused model of evaluation. We have a user-oriented model of evaluation, and we have the responsive model of curriculum evaluation. So what we want to do is I want to look at each of them and see how it works or what it means when we say you are using an experimental model of curriculum evaluation. Now, experimental model of curriculum evaluation, this is where the curriculum evaluator tries to find out about the effect of a particular program by controlling some variables, what we call some extraneous variables, and isolating the impact of these variables on the program that has been implemented or introduced for a while. And mostly this experimental model uses the scientific approach when it comes to conducting an evaluation. And when we talk of the scientific approach, we are basically talking about the systematic procedure which are used to logically and systematically arrive at a certain solution. And the advantage of this model is that it makes the evaluation process very objective. The analysis very objective of the, and hence the feedback or the analysis or the result of that evaluation can be generalized and conclusions can be made out of it. But one of the difficulty with this model is that it doesn't enable you to establish the controlled conditions in school situations for the impact of an intervention. So one of the difficulties is that it at times becomes very difficult to establish the controlled condition in the school situations, because there are a lot of variables that can impede the evaluation process. And so any experimentals, there are some control variables that are the interventions and all those kind of things, which at times becomes very problematic when you are dealing with the school settings and using this experimental model. Then we have goal-oriented model. So at times, some of the name itself suggests to you what it entails in that model. So the goal-oriented model is a type of model where the evaluator, the curriculum evaluator, will first identify, clarify, and state the purposes of the educational activity or the objective, and then assesses the extent to which these purposes has been achieved as part of the implementation. So when you are using the goal-oriented, already you have the goal-oriented have a set of purposes or objectives or goals, aims, which has been set out as a measure or criteria. Then you assess the extent to which these have been achieved through the program that has been implemented. Then based on that, you're able to align it to see whether indeed it has been achieved or not. So the goal-oriented model employs what we call the program-specific goals. That's the curriculum goals that were stated, the curriculum aims, the curriculum objectives, as a criteria for determining the success of the program. So what was the program? What was the aim, the goals and objectives? And you assess, has these been achieved? So the curriculum specific aims, goals and objectives becomes a criteria to which the measurement will be done to see whether we have achieved it or not. So the advantage of this goal-oriented model is that it is easy to understand, follow, implement, and produce information that educators will generally agree of its relevance, simply because already the program aims and goal has been spelled out. So you are just assessing to see the extent to which these goals have been objective. So if these specific goals and things have been set out as a criteria, it becomes so easy whenever you are using such evaluation model. But one of the difficulty or shortfalls with this goal-oriented model is that it does not deal with the occurrence of unplanned and unintended events. And we all know that in education, we have what we call the latent functions of education. There may be certain things that may not be really codified that you may end up achieving. But where this goal is only so much focused on the program-specific goals and aims, there may be other unplanned, unintended plan events or goals or ideas that you may also derived from the program implementation. But since it's not captured as part of the aims and goals, you cannot assess those ones. And that's a weakness so far as this model is concerned. Are you following? Hello?
Yes, sir. Sir, please, we are here. So for us to get you clear, you are saying that
For
the
who?
goal-oriented model.
For who? For who?
You say, but please, you said
For who? For who?
for me to understand.
And who is you?
I'm Mary saying.
Mary.
I'm Ponsanjiman.
You see you won't get to methods of teaching. We address all these questioning skills and technique issues. So you go on.
Okay, so you said that this goal-oriented model talks about easy to understand, follow, implement, and produce information that educators generally agree is relevant to their mission. So the goal-oriented deals with the mission of which this particular model is set for, but it does not deal with the occurrence of unplanned or unintended events. So when it comes to goal-oriented models, what are some of the unplanned or unintended events that you are talking about? Thank you very much. Sir.
In the school experiences that we have been talking about, when we talk of curriculum, there are some experiences that are planned and others that are not planned. Is that also?
Yes, sir.
So what are some of the examples of the things you go through in the school setting that are not part of the planned one?
Let's say sports activities.
Pardon?
I said sporting activities, culture.
Sporting activities, denominational meetings, Gamsu Kasu, and entertainment and all these are part of the things you do in the schools that gives you an experience. Is that also? That
Yes,
you
sir.
acquire certain skills, yes. But with the goal-oriented, when they are doing the evaluation, they use the planned program specific aims, goals, and as a criteria for the measurement. So you are assessing to check the extent to which these programs specific. That's why we are saying that the shortfall, one of the weakness is that it doesn't take into consideration other unplanned experiences or unintended events that also happens. The unintended, for example, we talk of hidden curriculum, certain behaviors learners learn from teachers without intentionally teaching them, which happens in the school. But when you are using the goal specific, your focus is on the specific aims, goals, and objectives of the program, the planned curriculum that you are teaching in the classroom. And that becomes a yardstick of the measurement to determine the extent to which these have been achieved. So the weakness we are saying here is that it becomes difficult. It doesn't take into account other unplanned experiences or events or unintended purposes which students also go through in the school because it's not part of the program, official program, which has been outlined.
Thank you very much, sir.
Any other? Okay, then the third one is the decision focus model. So the decision focus model, you see the word itself said decision. So this model involves gathering information, and the information can be a data, and the essence of this information gathering and provision is to aid decision making in respect of curriculum planning, design, and implementation. So the assumption underlying this model is that the evaluation is worthwhile only if its result affect future action. So what happens is that once we do this evaluation, the essence of the evaluation we are doing is to inform subsequent improvement in the curriculum or revision or change in the curriculum that we are doing. That's why I said decision focus. So the essence of the evaluation is to be able to generate data to make a decision going forward. Do we need to revise the curriculum? What do we need to add? And how the next implementation should phase out? Should it go the way we have been implementing or otherwise? So evaluation process require here to be more flexible and to be tally with the needed changes and adjustments in the curriculum plan and implementation. So in brief, what we are saying, one of the key features of this model is that the curriculum evaluator's role is not just only assisting the decision makers with information or data and alternative issues or data or information to make decisions, but they must also go a step further to draw the attention of the decision makers about the effect of these alternatives that are available to be taken. And even if the decision makers' attention is not to that effect or to that point, the evaluator can still draw their attention to areas that they have not paid attention to, or to areas that they do not focus much attention in that area. So take note that when it comes to decision focus, the main focus okay. So the main aim of the decision focus is to aid future decisions about the curriculum, either to improve or to revise. So one of the importance or the advantage of this model is that it helps to focus on evaluation by making sure that the evaluators adhere to specific information needs that are needed for the planning of the curriculum, design, and implementation going forward. So that means that those information and data that we get, we are able to use those information to either revise the existing curriculum and improve it and make modifications in some of the content, whether to make it in the way they are implementing or the design aspect, so that at the end of the day, it will work well. But one of the shortcomings also has to do with the fact that certain important decisions are not made at a specific point in time, but at times it occurs through a gradual process of the program implementation or development. And at times, many decisions are not based on data, but rely on the subjective perception, feelings, and personal opinions or needs of some program planners and implementers. So you see, the challenge here is that people may bring in their subjective views, expressions, and especially when it comes to those subject specialists who are so much interested in pushing out their interest by bringing in more courses to ensure that they write books and get money out of it and all those things. So if at times we are not so much very objective and specific with some of these informations and it's relevant to the needs of the society, you may end up bringing a number of decisions and number of things into the program which may not reflect the societal needs, but rather may reflect chief or subject specialist personal interests and people's feelings and expressions, or to meet their whims and caprices, which at times may not serve the best interests of the society and the learners involved. Then we have the user-oriented model. That's the fourth one, the user-oriented model. The word is user, those user. So this model is based on empirical evidence that evaluation information was most effectively used in decision making where there is one direct involvement of key decision makers in the evaluation process, where there are timeline in the release of evaluation findings to program designers and implementers, and also sensitivity to the organizational context in which evaluation takes place. So, the main focus of this model is that they make the potential users of the curriculum the focal point of their evaluation activities. And the potential users of all curriculum are learners and teachers. So when you are saying that you are using a user-oriented model, then it means that your target is that you are focusing on the teachers and the learners to give you information, data, to be able to analyze the effectiveness of the program that is being implemented. And this, using the teachers and learners, can help you get judgmental data on student learning, and even some of these are the two major and other aspects of data that you may use to get the evaluation done. So take note that user-oriented model makes potential users of the curriculum as a focal point of all the evaluation activities and seeks to maximize evaluation information for the purposes of decision making. So, and the potential users, as I've mentioned, include teachers, learners, among others. So when the evaluators are using this model, they pay attention to the style of the teacher, the rapport teacher establishes, the sensitivities that they also establish, and the contextual issues within school specific and what is prevailing. The other pre-existing condition, organizational features which may differ, the community influence, and the manner in which the evaluation is reported. So these are all areas that they pay attention to, because they pay attention to all these. The human element is very key. The style of the teacher, how establish rapport, and the learners as well, their behaviors and attitude, and all those things are things that the user-oriented model evaluators pay attention. And so one of the advantages of this model is that it increases commitment on the side of the users, because when you get in touch with the people you interview, you speak to them, and they air out their issues, their concerns, and those things are used to modify. Yes, because they spoke and you have listened, it also enabled them to show that sense of commitment to the program implementation. And also it takes the real problems and circumstances of the users, and the teachers and the learners, those the potential users of evaluation, into account, and hence yields findings that are really essential or relevant to the needs and purposes of the users. But one of the shortfalls of this is that at times it tends to overemphasize the interests of more than necessary. And at times may end up ensuring that some users are giving more attention to the disadvantage of some other users, instead of being the equal opportunity. You know, this because of the human element and its age they bring in. At times there could be some subjectivity and biases in there, but you can't get everything 100%. And so these are some of the issues when it comes to the user-oriented. Then the fifth one is what we call the responsive model. Responsive. So from the word respond. So this responsive model is a type of model where the evaluators, the curriculum evaluators, derive their information from diverse views, opinions, or perspective from all people who have a stake in the program being implemented. So this one is more inclusive as compared to that of the user-oriented. The user-oriented consider only the potential users. And who are the potential users of curriculum? The teachers and learners. But the responsive model is more inclusive because every stakeholder who has a stake is considered, which include parents, which include NGOs who are into education, which include international partners who support us, which include teachers themselves, which include learners, which include heads of schools, among others. And that's why we are saying that responsive model proponents, they base their conclusions on multiple views, perspectives, opinions of all the various people affected by the evaluation model. So the responsive evaluation, they place more emphasis on qualitative methods of data collection and analysis than that of the experimental model. So they use things like observation, unstructured interviews, checklists, and all those kind of things, and other naturalistic and participant-oriented approach of data collection, because they want diverse and not everybody that you can subject them to the objectivity as compared to that of the experimental. I mean,
Ibrahim.
so in terms of the responsive, one of the things that we can comment or the advantage that, see, with the responsive evaluators, they are not only responsive to the needs and the aims of various stakeholders, but they also pay into attention into the context, the contextual issues of these stakeholders, and to be able to offer some form of analysis or some form of explanations or some comprehensive outlook of how the whole program implementation is prevailing from their diverse perspective. And we are saying that such an evaluation model projects the human element in evaluation by directing attention of evaluation to the needs of clients or stakeholders in a given evaluation situation. Because the main emphasis is here that they prioritize stakeholders' concerns, their needs, their issues in the evaluation process. They don't sit in their rooms and just conjure. They consider wide variety of stakeholders who have a stake in the program that is being implemented, and they're able to make sure that they address the needs of their stakeholders who have a role to play in the curriculum evaluation. And that's why the responsive model is highly sensitive to the multiple views of various individuals and groups, and has the capacity to accommodate ambiguous or poorly focused concerns. Now, one of the disadvantages of this model is that it is difficult to take multiple points of view of all stakeholders in an evaluation into consideration in rare case scenario. Because if you are talking about all stakeholders who have a stake, Charlie, talking about learners, teachers, parents, international donors who support NGOs, the ministry itself, the NACA, and even community elders, like the factors we talked about, community elders, governors, and all those. See that there's a wide range of people, and that becomes very difficult trying to get information from all these heads or stakeholders. It can be really time consuming and very, very cumbersome and very tedious. You see, and another way it has also been accused or criticized of being too subjective rather than being objective when it comes to these evaluation activities. So these are the 5 models and the various perspectives that each of them come from that are to be shared with you. Any question on them? Okay. Now, why do we do curriculum evaluation? What is the sense of evaluation? Why do we bother ourselves doing curriculum evaluation and others? One of the functions of curriculum evaluation is to diagnose the instructional program. And we all know that when we talk of diagnosis basically is you being told that this is what is wrong with you. So if someone has been diagnosed of malaria, then we are saying that the person, it has been found within the system on the person that he's suffering from maybe malaria symptoms or parasite. So we do evaluation to diagnose an instructional program, meaning that in order to determine what is wrong with the program, what is the program supposed to do that is not doing, what kind of product that the program is supposed to produce that is not producing. So when we say diagnosis of instructional program, we are talking about evaluation aiding us to be able to determine what is wrong with the curriculum program, what is supposed to do that is not doing, what is supposed to produce that is not producing, what are the issues, the challenges, the problems, so far as the curriculum is concerned. We also do evaluation in order to revise the curricula. So when we do the evaluation and realize that these are the issues, these are the problems, then what can be done to make sure that it works well? And based on the data from the evaluation, we are able to make some revision, some adjustment, some modification in the existing curriculum to make sure that it works effectively, or to improve it to work well and to achieve its needed result. We also do evaluation to compare instructional programs. And here talking about instructional programs, for example, we can do an analysis of the standard base and compare with the old system that we're practicing to see whether there has been any significant change or there hasn't been any change, or whether the old one serves best purpose like this or rather than this one. So we also do this evaluation in order to make some comparison about instructional programs and how they are all faring. Now, we also do evaluation in order to determine the educational needs So whilst the program is in use, you do the evaluation, you get information from teachers. The teachers will tell you the strength and the weakness of the program and the suggestions they will put forward. Learners will share their views. Some stakeholders will also bring their views. And that will give you an idea of the needs, the educational needs of the society, the learners, the teachers, and even all the stakeholders involved. And that can help you to reform the program by modifying the objectives to be able to get or address the needs that has been shared through the evaluation process. So if at the end of the day, parents or society is crying for people who can be entrepreneurs, who can be self-employed, who will not be becoming graduate unemployment, through the evaluation, these were the concerns. So that becomes an educational needs, which then should be modification in the existing curriculum to help address that need. And that's why one of the things that we do evaluation to determine these educational needs that may reflect in the objectives. Then we also do evaluation to determine if the objective has been achieved or it has not been achieved. It's just like when you teach a lesson in school. You can only determine that your objective has been achieved only when you have given them exercises and you have marked the exercise. True or false? True or false?
True, please.
So if you teach a child, you don't give exercise, how will you know whether you have achieved your objectives or not? So we do evaluation, be it formative or summative, in order to help us know whether we have achieved objectives or we have not. If we have not achieved, then the next question is that what were the issues? What made us not to be able to achieve it? And what can be put in place to make sure that going forward, we achieve what we have set for ourselves. Then we also do evaluation for the purposes of guidance. And that is to enable evaluators to have a better notion of the needs and capabilities of students. Until you do these evaluations, how will you know the strengths and the weaknesses of your students? How will you know their status and be able to determine whether they can be promoted or they can be placed in certain class or categories or whatever? So the evaluation data becomes a source of data to guide teachers or stakeholders when it comes to appreciating the strengths and the weaknesses, and for, let's say, for certification or for placement purposes or for promotional purposes, among others. Then the seventh point, we also do evaluation for the purpose of public relation functions. And a classical example is WAEC. You see that after WAEC has marked and go through all the processes of analysis, then they come to inform the public that this year we have 75,000 candidates who sat for the WASI across the country. Out of the 75,000, 45,000 had A1 to C6. 1,200 had C6 to that, D7 to that. And this number of students failed. So in this year, in math and English, these people, you have a total number of this percentage pass and this percentage failure. And most of the challenges and issues will be reflective in the chief examiner's reports for assessment and for further analysis. It is as a result of the evaluation they have done by conducting the test, marking, analyzing, and being able to place judgment on it, and that's what they are doing, that public relation purposes. So we also do curriculum, we evaluate the curriculum in order to be in a position to inform the public as the status of it, and going forward must be done in order to make sure that we achieve what we want as a country. Any question?
No questions, sir.
Where is Mary Amponza?
I'm here. I'm around. I'm here.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I can continue.
Yes,
Sir,
please.
please let's proceed. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now I want to look at procedures for evaluation. If you want to do evaluation, you first have to evaluate the objectives of evaluation. You must evaluate it. Set out all your objectives, your parameters must be clear. Then, when the objectives and everything has been spelled out, has been clearly outlined, defined, then you must go a step further to identify situations so far as the areas of the evaluation is concerned. So when you identify the situations or areas of which you are going to assess, then you can now determine will it be question. Will it be questionnaire? Will it be interviews? Will it be tests? Will it be observation checklist? And you decide a number, which of them will best fit the situation you want to assess, which will reflect the objectives that has been set for yourself. Then you can also assess student test records as part of the evaluation procedure. And based on these data and records you may have, you can now make decisions on each of the units based on the data and the records that you have. So these are some of the procedures you can consider when you are doing evaluation. But one of the things that we place much emphasis has to do with the evaluation tools or instruments or measures. So there are a variety of tools that can be used to conduct curriculum evaluation. We have observation, interview, tests, and questionnaires. These are a number of evaluation tools that you can use whenever you are conducting evaluation. Now, when it comes to observation, like I've already indicated, is where you sit, observe what is happening in the classroom, and have a checklist before you. Then you take your observation, things that you are seeing, and also make your comments known, so that after you can share with the teachers or also help you in a way forward. And that's why we are saying the observation is the act of recognizing and noting facts or occurrences. So rather than asking teachers to describe their own practices of what they think about the curriculum dosings, the developers themselves will rather come and sit in the classroom and observe the teaching, learning, and process. Then they themselves will note those observations down. And after, they could share with the teachers and also inform themselves. But teachers can also observe learners to also get information about the caliber of learners he's handling in the classroom and what relevant, how this observation can help him or her to adjust his teaching to make sure that student needs are met. An observation can be structured or unstructured. It can be participatory or non-participatory. Structured means that there's a whole checklist and those things that is being guided. But unstructured, it's as the observer, as he observe, note things down, then at the end of the day, you can assemble or analyze them in that regard. Now, when it comes to interview, we all know this where either the developers will interact with teachers or learners to be able to have some information or from the perspective of the teachers, learners, and other stakeholders. So the intention of the interview is to obtain certain information for making decisions about the curriculum. And these interviews can be used at all levels, and other curriculum experts, school heads, subject associations, parents, teachers, learners, all could be interviewed. All potential stakeholders of the curriculum could be interviewed to get a vital information to make some modification in the curriculum. Then when it comes to tests, we all know when you administer questions to your students and you mark and you get the result, and these are all forms of tests. And normally we can also have aptitude tests, which normally these are one of the tests that people consider. And as you know that test is one of the commonest form of assessment that teachers normally do in their class, and also is a basis that they can get information to determine the status of learners. And there are so many types of tests you can consider, be it essay type tests, multiple choice tests, or what all falls under what we call objective tests. And the feeling, the matching type, true or false, these are all examples of multiple choice tests. Then we have questionnaires, which are normally instruments that present information for respondents or learners or whoever responding to it to respond either by taking or by writing beside the boxes that have been provided. So questionnaire can also be used at the level of the planning or restricted to the people who can read and write. I know, because not all people can read and write. So normally questionnaires are advisable for people who can read and write and who can provide certain information either by writing or by taking. So these are some tools that can be used for curriculum evaluation. Any question on the tools? Any question?
No question, sir.
Okay. Now, criteria for evaluation or principles for evaluation. We are saying that because you are using certain tools, instruments for the evaluation, these tools or instruments must be subjected to certain criteria or principles. And the first one I want to talk about has to do with objectivity. We have objectivity, reliability, validity, comprehensive, continuity, consistency, and compatibility. So here we are saying that, and objectivity here is trying to push the point that whichever instrument that is being used to do the evaluation, the result of it, irrespective of whoever is scoring or analyzing, must depict the same findings. It must depict the same result. That means that it must be what? Objective. So if you are using maybe a questionnaire to assess a particular program, we are saying that objectivity principle is telling us that at the end of the day, the evaluation results should be the same, or essentially be the same, regardless of whoever is scoring or whoever is assessing. Because in objectivity, there's a standard. There's a criteria standard that has been established that you are assessing against. Unlike the subjective that you are assessing based on your context as against others. So these are very important things that you must check, that irrespective of who is scoring, because there's a standard that we are using, whether it is A or B, we should virtually have the same result. Then reliability has to do with the consistency of the results. The consistency of the results, either used on the same occasion or different context or within a different time. So anytime you talk of internal consistency, then your mind should go to reliability. So here we are looking at the consistency, accuracy, and stability of the instrument that you are using to do the evaluation, be it questionnaire, interviews, tests, or whatever device you are using to obtain. So we are looking at how the sample result or the test will give the same result if it's done again by the same people or on different occasions, or with different sets of equivalent test items. Will the findings or the results be the same or be consistent? And that is why if you check, reliability and objectivity has some characteristics in common. They go hand in hand. So it's possible that you may have a certain result that shows consistency, accuracy, and stability or trustworthiness of the instrument that is being used to get the data. And that will give you also an idea of how objective that device may be. Now, we also have what we call validity. When it comes to validity, validity is focusing on checking the extent to which the instrument measures what it is intended to measure. So, for example, on a questionnaire to find out method teachers are using to teach social studies. If at the end of the day, if people responding to this item, we are not able to come out with the exact method teachers use to teach social studies, then our validity is questioned. So validity criteria ensures that the instrument or the tool used for the evaluation should reflect what is intended to achieve. It should project and measure exactly what is intended to measure. And under validity, we have what we call phase validity, criterion validity, and content validity. Now, when we talk of phase validity basically gives you an idea of how clear, precise, concise the wording of the items are, which avoid ambiguity, dangling, or confusion. That's what called phase validity. So as researchers, whenever we develop an instrument, we subject it to construct validity, and all these forms of validity. So the phase validity, the advisor will just check and see the wording of your sentences. Is it clear? Is it precise? Is it simple? Or there's some form of dangling ambiguity, which that one can also affect the result that you may get out of it. Then we have what we call the criterion related validity. See, the word is what? Criterion. That means that there's a certain set of criteria or standard that we measure against to determine how these variables have been achieved. So anytime you are talking about criterion validity, there is always an established criteria which the assessment is done and aligned to see whether those criteria has been achieved. For example, those of you at the WASI and BC, they have a standardized criteria that after they are able to match against to see how you have performed in the exams. So this only shows the relationship between scores on the device and some other criteria, such as the teacher's estimates or results and external exams like WASI and all those kind of exams that can be used in the test. Then we have what we call content validity. The name itself says content. So it shows the extent to which the evaluation device adequately covers the syllabus or the curriculum which is being evaluated. And that is where mostly WAEC falls short of this content validity. Most of them, WAEC only examine students on some few aspects of the curriculum, leaving chunk of them not assessed. So when we are doing evaluation and reflecting content validity, we are trying to appreciate the fact that you assess aspects of the curriculum in holistic way and not some aspects to the detriment of others. That's why I say that it shows the extent to which the evaluation device, the evaluation device we are talking about, be it questionnaire, interview, test, observation, guide, or whatever, those devices adequately covers the whole topics in the curriculum or otherwise. So these are issues that we focus on when we're talking about validity. Then we have comprehensiveness. So as you see the word comprehensiveness, the evaluation should be inclusive, should be encompassing, should be able to evaluate the various domains of the learning. It should be able to assess the cognitive ability of the learner, the affective attitude ability of the learner, and also the psychomotor skill set of the learner, so that there will be that holistic development and mastery of the learner to be able to reflect what the education achieves. Then we have continuity criteria. This involves the constant monitoring of the behavior being assessed with the aim of getting a feedback notion of continuous reforms of the educational system. As we always say, life is a continuous process, and there's a need for continuous evaluation to be able to get some form of feedback to reinforce the program, to make sure that there's continuous reforms and professional development as well. That's why I say life is a continuous process. And so every day you must be learning. So I say that leaders, the day you cease to lead, you cease to learn. The day you cease to learn, you cease to lead. You see. Then we can talk of consistency. So this consistency has to do with how the various curriculum aims, goals, and objectives is logically structured or hierarchically structured by order of what importance. And the way it has been structured, whenever we are assessing, it must also follow that trend way of what assessment. So for example, if the teaching of concept is considered more important than facts, then when it comes to assessment, there should be more emphasis on concept assessment than fact assessment. Likewise, if it is more emphasis on the cognitive outcome, then the assessment should also focus that same. So that's the consistency we are talking about when it comes to and the last one is the compactability. And here we are saying that all the evaluation instruments or devices that you are using, the data you are generating and whatever you are doing must be in tune with the stated objectives. It must reflect and it must align with the objectives of that has been spelled out for the program or for the evaluation task. That's why I say the evaluation should be compatible with the stated objectives. It should reflect the relative emphasis on particular objectives. So where the emphasis is placed on a particular objective is high, there should be a corresponding weight placed on that evaluation of such objective. So that at the end of the day, that area will fall in line with the objective that has been spelled out. So these are a number of criteria or principles that you must consider anytime you are doing evaluation, especially with the instruments or the tools that you are using for the evaluation. Any question up to this point? Yes, go ahead.
Okay, no, please. Mine is about the instruments. Can we also say that evaluation instruments should be varied, as in employing multiple instruments, either observation tests or aptitude tests or others to evaluate the work of a program? Can it also be one of the criteria?
Yeah, but it can be a criteria depending on the type of evaluation you are doing. I get it.
Oh, okay.
So you can have a variety as a principle to ensure that in doing some form of evaluation, you can employ one or two, instrument. And you see, that's what goes on the type of evaluation you are doing. And that will also determine whether you have to use multiple or otherwise. Because if you are, for example, if you are doing a user-oriented model, then we are talking about teachers and learners. So with this, even questionnaire one can do for all. Or they can decide to use interviews and focus group, and that will work. But when it comes to the responsive model of evaluation, you could see that there are a lot of stakeholders involved. So then that one variety must work in there. The multiple can work in there because at the end of the day, some parents cannot even read and write. How do you expect them to take questionnaires? Are you getting it? So mostly the type of evaluation you are doing will also reflect whether you have to go by the variety principle in terms of the use of multiple instruments to be able to get the result that you need. So it can be a criteria.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
You're welcome. Any other question? Because we have come to the end of the unit. Okay, so whilst we wait for the reflection of the questions, gradually we have come to the end of the course. As for the synopsis, we'll talk about it when we get to the teaching geography course. Because that one we'll have time to talk about the secondary school geography aims, goals, and all those things. So when the time is due, we'll talk about that over there. Okay, so what is going to happen is that since we are done with the course, I learned 14th, you are writing your first quiz. Is that the case? So,
No,
your
please.
first, pardon,
No, please.
when is the quiz?
From the timetable, when you check for the first quiz will be around 24th and 25th.
Yeah, 24th. Let me see, 14th. Sorry. 24th. So it means that you have a week.
Yes, please. To reflect on whatever that length.
Okay. So for the quiz 1, you have unit 1, unit 2, and unit 3 for quiz 1. Unit 1, unit 2, which is the philosophies, and unit 3 for quiz 1. And you have 17 multiple choice items with 3 true or false. All of them you have options that you have to select from. So that is that for the first quiz. Then with the exams, you have section A. You have, I think, 15 multiple choice and 5 true or false. So the 15 multiple choice are on unit 4 and unit 5. So that is the types of curriculum and curriculum development process. Are you getting it?
Yes, sir.
So unit 4 and 5 are for the objectives. Then when you come to the section B, we have 4 essay questions you have to answer only 2. 4 essay questions you have to answer only 2. You have a question, a full question on unit 2, the philosophies. So those who have the material, look at the review questions and objectives in there.
Okay,
Then
sir.
you also have a question on unit 1. Then you also have a question on unit 5. That's the curriculum development process, the modules. And the curriculum development process, that place you have 2 different questions there. 2 different questions. Just that one question is a sub to another. But there's one question that is a full question in the curriculum development process, especially those terminologies that we have there. Then the module side, there's another question on the module. Then one of them has a sub question of the curriculum evaluation, what we have just discussed. But they are all 4 questions. You are just to answer only 2 out of the 4. So whichever you want to master, you can master it and do justice to it. So we have unit 1, unit 2. We have unit 5. That's the curriculum development process. the models and those terminologies and those principles there, then I think curriculum evaluation. Curriculum evaluation. So these are the essay questions that you have to answer only two. So what I want to urge you is that please solve the review questions in the book. That will be very helpful for you. Solve it. Try your hands on them. Then the quiz 2.
Okay, sir.
The quiz 2 is on unit 6 and 7. The quiz 2 is on unit 6 and 7. Implementation and evaluation. I think that one is you have 16 objectives, then 4 true or false. 16 objectives and 4 true or false. Are you getting it?
Yes, sir. We are here.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So that is that for the whole quizzes and exams. So the only thing you can do is to pay attention to the review questions in the book. That's all. Because most of the questions are from there. Any other question or contribution?
No question, sir.
Yeah, I'm sure after this course, we may be doing methods of teaching geography or teaching geography, but the teaching geography is what I have to confirm. Because the new curriculum, I've taken that one out. But if they are still going to run it, then maybe I have to get material on that for you. So I'll find out from the coordinator on that. Okay, so in absence of any further question or contribution, I would like to thank you so much for your patience and your time for us to go through this course. And it's been a pleasure facilitating this course and spending some time with you. I pray that one day I'll see some of you, your faces, so that when I see you, I can acknowledge you.
Thank you very much for your time, your attention, and patience. God bless you. God bless you more.
Bless you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very
Sir,
much,
please,
sir.
don't forget the slide, please.
Amwa, were you the one who came to Sunyani to pick or are you the one who picked it from Cape Coast?
Sir, please, from Cape Coast.
Oh, okay. Then I know you. There's another gentleman who picked from Sunyani for me. I don't know whether he's here. Oh, okay.
Sir,
Okay.
he is Paul.
Yeah, I think the gentleman himself did not come. I think he sent somebody to pick it up.
Yes, sir. It's me,
Oh, okay.
I sent Justice to come and pick it up.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So thank you very much, and I wish you all the best. We'll be preparing for the next. But you see, one thing you must take note is that when it comes to with the quizzes, because it's online, when you do it, it automatically generates the scores. Normally, what comes to us is the exams. So when I employ you to solve the review questions, please do well to do that. It will be helpful. So
Okay, sir.
Okay,
No,
doctor.
no.
yeah, Stephen. Stephen, I'm listening.
No, please. I'll call you later. I think I have some small discussion with you, so
Okay,
I'll call you later.
okay, okay,
All right.
okay. So thank you very much and have a good evening. I'll send a slide to oh, to Stephen. Now you have used my course page for other courses, which was some way. See, instead of sending my materials there, because you use the course page for other courses, it was difficult for me to upload my materials there.
eh, hmm. It-
Sorry, it was my doing.
So I'll forward it to Stephen so that you the last unit so that you forward it to the class. Okay, so have a
Okay, sir.
good,
Thank you.
have a good afternoon. Bye for
Good
now.
afternoon, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Well,
much. God bless you, sir.
But maybe in the course of your learning, if you find anything you want to discuss with me, you can do. You can also WhatsApp me with it, or you can call.
Okay, sir.
Bye.
Okay,
Say
sir.
you are one in a
Okay.
billion.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. God bless you.
Yeah.
Please,
Bless.
I'll call you. Osman, I'll call you.
Okay. Okay. Have a
Osman, me
blessed
too.
day.
I'll
Bye.
call you. Osman, me too. I'll call you.
Manuel.
Please, Sir Stephen, please, if you have the previous slides, please kindly reshare it again for us. Some of us have not gotten it.
Please, I still have the information on the page. Please, let's do justice to the information on the page. Please. We are almost done with the program, so let's do justice, please. Thank you.